Some time ago, I decided to make games. Like everyone else starting out, I made extensive research and experiments. Turns out, in order to create a proper game, you need to learn a lot about game design, engines, modeling, animation, sound design, story development, marketing, and other crucial things. After spending a considerable amount of time with those things, I believe I am now ready to make a game. And I would like to share as much as possible with you. Hi, I'm Cem Demir. I'm a solo game developer and I make an adventure game. You can follow the game by subscribing or using the links below. To be honest, I did not grow by playing narrative adventure games or point and click adventures. But I can quickly catch up with things. I mostly play system-savvy games. However, the idea of driving the story based on player choices has become so attractive to me. It enables building a world with countless possibilities, interactions and emergent little stories that feels like real world. I am inspired by a lot of art forms, but for now, let's just focus on games. All games have some kind of narrative. All of them put players in a world where something is going on and you should be dealing with problems. And as you progress and overcome those problems, you actually shape your own story. That's why I think games are excellent mediums for interactive storytelling. All games are inspiring some way or another. I just need to know how to stand on the shoulders of giants. One title that affected me very much, as you can imagine, is Disco Elysium. It's not categorized as an adventure game, but it's a story-rich game. The world building, narrative, strength of the characters, and art style are actually very inspiring for me. I'm sure I will often talk about it in the future. I have a story to tell. I mean, not right now. I have an idea for the story of the game. But first, I have to think of a way to talk about the story without spoiling it, but also interesting to hear. For now, I can say it's about being stuck in somewhere, one's struggle to adapt, and digging into the past. I know this sounds abstract and nothing funny, but you have to be patient until I find a way to communicate it properly. I use Ink to develop the story, which is a scripting language developed by Inkle, which is a game studio known by their narrative games. Ink is a great tool. I will surely talk about it later. In this game, players can reflect their personalities more freely than a typical RPG. This should be achieved by branching out dialogue options according to players' previous decisions. An example may be useful for explaining the concept. This is a scene from Breaking Bad where the protagonist Walter White walks into the local drug dealer Tuco's place to negotiate the price of his product.
What's your name?
Heisenberg.
Heisenberg. Okay. Have a seat, Heisenberg.
I don't imagine I'll be here very long.
No? All right. Be that way. It's your meeting. Why don't you start talking and tell me what you want?
$50,000.
Oh, man. 50 G's? How you figure that?
In this point, imagine you are Walter. What could you say? This is not a critical plot point or something, just an example. In every point in life, everything we do is to choose. There are things we can do, there are things that we wouldn't like to do, or things we cannot do. It always changes according to the choices we have made before and what kind of person we are. These conditions and options are not meaningful at all, but you get the idea. The story brings Walter to a point where his options are limited and he has to act somehow. And he continues with this.
$35 for the pound of meth you stole, and another $15 for my partner's pain and suffering.
Because he's an analytical person. He has already calculated every detail and possibility that can happen, and he knew what to say. He wants to design his actions like an architect because this is his character. So, players are going to gain and lose dialogue options based on their actions before. Game is not going to ask you questions or need you to choose a personality beforehand. These things are to be handled in the background. Of course, this is not new for games, it is a common feature, but I think there's much room to explore if it's executed well. This is a story-heavy game. Players are invited to a world that there are things already going on, and there are things to be happening soon. You can change the course of some events, and others you can just be a spectator. And you never know where some choices will take you, just as in real life. And some technical stuff. I will use Unity. I try to figure out the technical workflow for the isometric loop I want to achieve. Game will need a lot of 3D asset creation, which is something I am comfortable with. I use Blender for all things including modeling, texturing, compositing, rigging and animations. As you can tell, I'm not a trained artist. I try a lot to be better at painting and develop a consistent art style for the game. And let me tell you, it is hard. So it needs a lot of try and error. Currently, I spend most of my time on concept art. I'm trying to figure out how characters and environments will look. That's it for now. I know this is not a proper devlog. It's just devlog number 0. There are a lot of work to be done. I cannot wait to see how this project will turn out at the end. As you see, I already have some characters, some environments and stuff. I hope next time I can share more interesting information about the game without spoiling the story. I will make devlogs as much as possible, and I hope these videos hold me accountable for finishing the game. Please subscribe, stay connected, and join me in this journey. Bye.